The Independent is reporting that the EU is banning a pretty popular kind of cigarette. They say under new tobacco laws, menthol cigarettes will only be sold in packs of 20 from May 21st as part of a longer plan to phase out the flavored cigarettes entirely by 2020. The complete ban also include skinny lipstick-style cigarettes and flavors such as vanilla and strawberry. The phase-out began last May when cigarette packaging was standardized under new rules designed to prevent young people from taking up the habit. Okay, so I have many thoughts on this. So when it comes to banning this specific kind of cigarette, let's stick with the flavors, menthol, vanilla, strawberry. Am I in favor of banning those? No, I'm not, actually. I'm a little bit more libertarian on these issues. If you want to smoke a vanilla cigarette or a strawberry cigarette or a menthol cigarette, you should be able to do that. Now, maybe I'm a little bit biased here because when I was a smoker, I was Newport Light. And Newport Light is it's a menthol cigarette. So menthol was my thing. I loved menthols. Obviously, as everybody knows, as I've described on air before, I went from smoking that to using the little blue e-cigarettes with the blue tip. And I have to say, man, it worked for me at least, where I used them for a while, and then I eventually just stopped using them because I was too lazy to go to the store to keep buying them. And now I don't smoke at all. So the e-cigarette thing kind of worked for me, and yeah, it kind of scratched the itch too. Like it wasn't the full satisfaction of a cigarette, but it was like 58% of it or 62% of it, and it was enough for me to go, that's all I need. It's got a little bit of nicotine in it, and it's the vapor, it's not the smoke, it doesn't cause cancer. So all of like the e-cigarette hatred out there, I don't agree with it. It worked for me, and maybe that's anecdotal, but I think it probably worked for a lot of other people too. And even if it didn't work for it, and they keep smoking that, it's still less bad for you than cigarettes, than traditional cigarettes. So here's my thing on this. What I'm in favor of when it comes to cigarettes is regulation. So everybody knows, I talk about this with my drug stance all the time. Legalize, tax, regulate. So for cigarettes, they should be legal, they should be taxed, and they should be regulated. I think the regulations right now are too lax, but you have to regulate in the right way. So what I would do is the additives that are carcinogenic and toxic and horrific for you, I would ban some of those additives. I'd ban the worst additives, the ones that really cause cancer and are horrific for you. So if I was emperor, my rule would be all the carcinogenic additives are gone. They're out, okay? But cigarettes are still going to be legal. And who knows, maybe the cigarettes still have detrimental effects. I'm sure they do. But at least you got out the worst cancer-causing additives, so they're healthier. The government shouldn't have to, force you to be healthy by regulation. You should still have a choice. They can't, what are they going to force you to eat, have a healthy diet? They can't do that, right? So it should be the same thing with cigarettes. You can't, even if they're still unhealthy, you could regulate them to make them healthier by taking out the additives. But outside of that, no, I'm not going to get into regulating the flavors. You can't have menthol, you can't have vanilla, you can't have strawberry. That's government overreach. I don't think it's government overreach to say, let's take out the additives that cause cancer. I don't think that's government overreach. I do think it's government overreach to get into the flavors and stuff. So I would regulate cigarettes more effectively and more intelligently, but still have them legal, and I would still let you pick your flavor and stuff. That's too big government, in my opinion, where you start, if some people are in favor of banning cigarettes, it's way too much. There's a healthy, rational middle ground here where you can ban the additives but keep the flavors. So you still give people freedom of choice, you just make them relatively healthier than they were.